Hey everybody, welcome to another Fun in 5. Bringing you today Pandemic by Z-Man Games. This is a game for 2 to 4 players. It's actually called a co-op game. I'll talk about that in a moment. But basically you're trying to save the world from this massive pandemic that's taking over. Actually, not just one pandemic. It's 4 different virus strains. Alright, but let's figure out why I like Pandemic. So first off, I like the fact that it is cooperative. This is the first actual cooperative game I've played, other than role-playing games like D&D or things like that. So this is a game where all players, whether it's one player controlling multiple characters, or 2 or 3 or 4 people working together, trying to solve the same problem, trying to save the world, exterminate the viruses that are taking over. I'll show you what those are. They're in this kind of pandemic little deck here. So that's the first thing I like. You're working together, you're talking through problems, you're trying to figure out who should go where, when you should trade cards, and it's really an interesting dynamic. It brings out a lot of personality as well, and it can create some alpha roles or have an alpha personality, really try to push other players into making decisions. But no matter how you look at it, if you're with the right group of people and you get along, you can figure this out and have some fun with it. So that's the first thing. The second thing is it can get very stressful, and it's weird to say a game that is stressful would be fun, but as you see your outbreak track move up, as you see these cubes that represent the viruses suddenly explode across the sections of the globe or create and trigger an outbreak, which then spreads to other areas, it's really stressful to try to figure out where to go and what to do. And as the deck runs thin and the options get almost less and less, you're really trying to work together to save the world before it all goes to hell. And as stressful as that is, it is fun. The third one is the epidemic mechanic. So the epidemics, there can be a number of them depending on how hard you want the game to be. But basically you shuffle, or you split the deck into a certain number of piles, and then you place that many epidemics in each pile, shuffle the cards, and then stack them on one another. And what that does is it creates kind of a timed mechanism where as you progress through the deck, you're guaranteed to hit an epidemic basically every fifth of the deck, but you don't know if it's going to be the top or the middle or the bottom of that particular fifth. So you never quite know when an epidemic is going to come, but you always know an epidemic is going to come. So I think that's a really fun way to force kind of timed mechanics into the game while players understand it. It's not unexpected, and it is fun when it does happen, and that's what triggers the outbreaks that make the game what it is. It's what makes the pandemic. The fourth one is about the kind of cure/elimination options that you have in the game. So one of the things that you're trying to do in the game is to eliminate the world of all of these diseases. There's 4 of them. And the first thing you would do is you would go to a hospital and try to cure a disease, which would then let you put a little kind of a vial there, which means anytime you go somewhere you can heal or remove cubes at a much cheaper cost. But they can still trigger additional diseases on the board when you draw those cards from this deck. So it's neat that even though you have a cure, problems still happen, and you actually have to eliminate all diseases of a particular color from the board for it to actually be permanently cured, and then those cards don't matter anymore. So I thought that was a really neat mechanic, how they have a 2-stage defeat system against these viruses. All right, and the last one, of course, is the characters. There are several different characters in the game. We have a scientist, a medic, a dispatcher, a quarantine specialist, a researcher, and an operations expert. And I'll scroll those on the bottom of the page here if I haven't already. But each one of them allows you to break the traditional rules of the game, which are written out on these kind of reminder cards. There's specific actions you can have, and you only get 4 actions a turn. This allows you to break those rules. And I love the action mechanic in of itself, how you get 4 actions and you really have to spend time figuring those out. But the characters allow you to take that even one step further, and certain people can break certain rules, and you have to work together cooperatively, the fun part number 1, to actually make it happen and have any chance of success whatsoever. You need to leverage the powers of these characters along with each other's powers, and that's the most fun part of the game, is trying to make all that work together for this pandemic curing madness that you've put yourself into. I have played the legacy versions, and I do love those as well. I just thought I'd talk about this original version first because I think it has a lot to offer, especially as a gateway game to people who don't realize the power of a competitive game versus the fun of a cooperative game. So anyway, hope you have fun trying Pandemic one day, and thank you for watching.